Hey, comic book fans, welcome back to Comic Book Corner 2.0. And guys, it's Mike Spider Slayer. Today, everyone, we are going to be talking about Wolverine and the X-Men issue number 36, otherwise known right now as Battle of the Atom chapter number 5. Busy cover going on here with that yellow banner stuff happening. Really takes away from the cover because if you look at the cover closely, there's a lot of action in this cover and there's some really good artwork here. But fortunately, you can't really appreciate that cover um, with such small scale art. So, didn't like that. The writer here is Jason Aaron, and the artwork is done by Giuseppe Gum. I can't say his name. Kamacoli. Um, Last issue, you got to see the cliffhanger with future Jean Grey and young Jean Grey and Emma Frost and the sisters going into this mind battle. It's basically what you see. And that's how this issue actually opens up. And we can see that the two Scots are talking with each other, going, "What are they doing?" And they're just having some kind of uh, mind, their psychic battle. That's what they're having. And this book is really good because it's got some good humor where needed in this issue. And you have old Scott talking to young Scott about what's going on. And Scott saying, "Oh, well, Jean Grey, this reminds me of young Jean Grey." And he goes, and young Scott's like, "Well, what are you talking about?" And he goes, "Well, this is old young Jean Grey." And he goes, "I can't believe I just said that. That's what happens when you get young Jean Grey staying in this timeline." So crazy stuff. Got to read it to really get it, but it's funny. But they have uh, this battle between everybody, and then you got Wolverine and the other X-Men sitting here showing up saying, "You got to bring back the young X-Men. We got to send them back." And it's funny. Wolverine opens up and he's like, "Slim and slimmer." So that was hysterical there. And this whole battle erupts. I mean, you got Wolverine and Cyclops basically going at it with each other, and it's just like they hate each other, and you can feel that in this particular issue. Even young Scott gets involved with Wolverine and gives him an optic blast. Um, and he just says, I can't believe it. He's like, I hate you guys more and more. And you can see as the issue goes along that this psychic war between the sisters, Emma Frost and the Jean Greys, take the toll on them. They start bleeding. They start coming blood out of their nose. One starts to fall as the issue goes along. And it's really action packed how they can make a psychic battle go. And then you see within their minds, you can actually see what happens here between obviously the main characters, which is the two Jean Greys, um, and Zorn, which is the older Jean Grey, just sits there and says, "You don't want to be a part of the future. You don't want to be that way." And she's like, "I want to live my own life. I want to live my own life." And as the battle goes on, you can see that Emma just gets blown apart and all the other sisters wind up falling. They just can't hack the battle on what's going on in between the psychic battle, what's going on here. Uh, you get to see a little bit of Kitty in this issue, not too much of her. You get to see how certain characters wind up turning out in the future because Deadpool talks about gold balls or whatnot, which is funny. And you get to see Jean Grey, young Jean Grey, get the upper hand in all this. But in the other side story here, you get to see Beast and Iceman doing some research how they feel that this future X-Men is not who they really ought to be. Which, as a reader, you kind of have the suspicion there's something not right about these X-Men. And as the issue goes along, you get to see Magic, and she makes her appearance here. And Beast, when he first sees her, he's like, "Oh, stars and garters," because I mean, look at her, look at the way she's dressed, and he's like freaking out. He's like, "Whoa," And the next thing you see is Magic gets Beast and Iceman to travel into the future because She's like, you got to travel into the future with me. She's like, these are not what they seem to be. And so Bobby and Beast wind up going into the future, and they make this funny reference here, and this funny thing where the baby is left with Brew, and Beast is like, so what'd you do with the baby? And he's like, oh, don't worry, the baby's perfectly safe. And you see that right here with Brew. And he just goes, yes, you're a cute little Homo sapien, aren't you? Yes, you are. The baby's cracking up. Or she's like laughing. Or, I'm sorry, he's crying. And I was just cracking up at that part. And again, you get to see this whole mind battle between the two Jean Greys. And she gets to see the future of what happens. Deadpool makes this crazy speech. Is it true? Is it not true? I don't know. You got to read and find out. But really interesting dialogue there. And it just ends up that Jean Grey saying, we got to go back to the past. We have to. And she's like, just trust me in all this. And by the time you get to the end of the issue, you get to see the future of where the future X-Men came from. And Bobby said, is this the right thing to do? Is to do more time travel? And this is where I felt like I was reading the Age of Ultron, because I'm sitting there going, oh my God, now we're traveling to the future of the X-Men. First, we met the future X-Men, we met the past X-Men. They're in current time, but now we're going to their time. And when you get to the last page, you get to see more of the you get to see more of the future X-Men right here. And I was just like, oh my God. I'm like, what the hell? The Sentinels are cooperating. You get Iron Man, Sentinels slash X-Man. You get Jubilee from the future here. You get you get Colossus. He's got this mustache. Who else here? This is what I like about this, though, finding this all out. This looks like the Black Panther or something, but I don't know. I can't make it out. And then you have this wizard person, which looks like an Iceman too, like another version of Iceman. And who's this? Is this Doctor Strange? Son or something like that? I don't know. That's just so weird. And then you have another Phoenix guy here. Who's that? Cyclops' son or something? I don't get it. Their looks, their expressions here are just like how I am right now. It's like, what's going on? So this book was great. There was another funny moment in there when they traveled into the future. Bobby goes, can we get some sports out almanacs or something? Which is really good because it's kind of a reference to Back to the Future too. But this was a really good book. It had a little bit of everything, so much more this had to offer than that last issue. The story progressed. You get to see the future, other side of the future X-Men. You get to see where they came from. You get to see these mind battles between the Jean Greys. You get to see that they have to go back to the past to set things straight. Lots of story here, lots of dialogue, lots to read. I may have showed you a lot, but you got to read the story to understand what's going on here. This was a great issue. Great issue. I'm giving it a 5 out of 5. Fantastic. The art was done right here. There's humor where needed, action where needed, just a little bit of everything. I highly suggest that you guys read this issue. This is a great continuation. This kept away the fear that I had of what was happening in the past two issues with the kind of fillerish type of stuff. This really progressed the story. Great issue. 5 out of 5. Definitely buy this book. So guys, give me your thoughts on this issue. Do you have the same thoughts of what I have? I mean, I really want to figure out what this future is in store for us with these future X-Men. And, Deadpool really got me wondering here. And I can't wait. I can't wait to read more of this. So, guys, again, give me your comments below. And as always, guys, thank you for watching Comic Book Corner 2.0. And until the next comic book review, this is Mike Spider Slayer signing off. Take care, everyone. See you soon. Bye.